Now, SABC News celebrates its 75th anniversary as part of marking this milestone over the past few days. You've, of course, heard from people that were here when Morning Live started. As the country's main breakfast news show, Morning Live has been part of the lives of South Africans for over 25 years. And for more, we're going to be joined by Nyana Molete, former national news editor at the SABC and was also the first news editor of Morning Live, perhaps to just share some of his fondest memories here at the SABC. On that note, a very good morning to you, Nyana. Thank you for your time at this hour. Welcome home, I should say.
Thank you very much. Good morning. It's good to be here again.
Well, it's good to have you. And obviously, we're just going down memory lane. We're celebrating this milestone out of 89 years, 75 years, really looking at, news making and setting that agenda at large. I wonder if we reflect back on some of your fondest memories or highlights during your tenure. What comes to mind for you?
Sure. Look, I mean, there were so many highlights during our time at Morning Live, particularly. But I think the important thing to say, to start with, is that when Morning Live started, we started at a time when the country was in a period that we called transition. So there was generally a very, very positive mood in the country. In fact, a positive mood about South Africa in the whole world. We had just had our first our constitution. We just out of the 1994 elections. Mandela was a great buzz all over the world. So we started Morning Live in a period where there was a lot of positivity about the country and we as South Africans and people who worked at the SABC became really part of that kind of euphoria, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So when we started Morning Live, there were breakfast shows on SABC2 before Morning Live started, but it was felt that we needed to do something that kind of reflects South Africa to South Africans. In fact, when we started, we're not even sure whether we were a news show, a magazine show, or what we were. And because of the period, we were kind of allowed to experiment quite a lot, not just in the broadcasting kind of arena, but it felt like the whole country was being innovative, was experimenting, and we were part of that kind of movement, so to speak. I mean, yeah, there would be kind of tensions between the so-called old order and the new order and that kind of thing, but we managed to smooth those kinds of things very, very, very quickly. So, I mean, yeah, in terms of my fondest memories, I mean, what really made Morning Live popular was our outside broadcasts. I think for a long time, that kind of way of doing things was missing. And we did a lot of broadcasts, or we did a lot of shows outside the studio, a kind of taking the show to wherever, taking the show to the people, taking the show to where the action was. And I think we made several kind of firsts. I believe that Vincent was on Morning Live the other day and spoke about the broadcast that was done on a submarine. But before then, one of the highlights for me was us doing a broadcast live first in a moving train. So we did a broadcast from a moving train between Johannesburg and Cape Town. And that was very, very challenging, kind of technically. So the combination of a technical challenge as well as appealing content was a wonderful thing to go through. After the experience of doing that, then we did a live broadcast from a flying aeroplane. We did a live broadcast from a moving aeroplane. and not moving on the ground, moving in the air. Again, I think that both the SABC technical teams and the SAA technical teams at the time did a wonderful job. So coordinating all these things was really satisfying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can see you obviously digging deep just because there's so many memories and so many highlights over the years. And obviously during that pivotal time for our country, riding that wave, that euphoria as well, it was so important to reflect, South African stories to South Africans, just also given the mandate of the public broadcaster. I'm also sure that the financial situation of the public broadcaster must have also enabled, a lot of these activities. I wonder if you could speak to what that situation really enabled you, or how it enabled you to access, the public with larger, news and information at large. How would you say that played its role there as well?
You see, at the time, I think budgets were not as tight as they are today, and like I say, there was a lot of room, there was a lot of space for us to try things out, to experiment, and the SABC at the time was assisted by by government in terms of funding. During when we started, we were not as or as reliant on advertising only as the situation is today. So the whenever the SABC got into trouble, and this started long before 1994, when the SABC was part, so to speak, of the kind of apartheid machinery. So after 1994, government support kind of continued until a certain period. I don't remember when the funding model of the SABC kind of changed slightly. But when we started, you could go over budget really without being punished. In fact, to be honest, sometimes we operated as if there was no budget. We operated as if we had limitless resources. It obviously was not the case, but it was only later that we had to learn the discipline of respecting budgets and working within budgets. But before then, it was easy because you didn't have as many kind of financial constraints as I imagine there are today.
Nyana, obviously the only constant is change, and we've seen the evolution over the years. I wonder, just as a platform, as we wrap up, looking at how the SABC obviously serves as a training ground for many people. We've seen how they've also gone to thrive, through the work and service here at the SABC. Anything that stands on that front, has it also impacted your own transition and the roles that you've taken on subsequently?
Look, yeah, I don't like talking about myself a lot, but look, I mean, the SABC has gone through major kind of changes. A few years ago, we did not have a situation where you have a kind of 24-hour news broadcast. That was a kind of major, I think, another major milestone for the SABC. The SABC actually trained, I think, thousands of people, some of whom went into the private sector, made success of it. So yeah, I mean, I think you talk about the constant thing being change, but for me, I think as far as the SABC has been concerned, the constant thing has been growth. You know,
Okay.
I think I think each era, each period that the SABC has kind of gone through has introduced several kind of growth points. I mean, there was a time when everything was kind of analog. There was a time when it was not going to be possible for you and I to speak like this, and you were able to see me and I was able to see you. So technology has kind of
Yeah.
evolved quite dramatically, you know.
Yeah. Well, Nyana, I'm running out of time, unfortunately. You know that's a scarce commodity. But I just want to thank you for joining us at this hour and for reflecting on your tenure here.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Of course, the work continues. Thank you for joining your former home. And of course, just continue to wish you all the best of luck with your own endeavors. Nyana Molete this morning, former national news editor here at the SABC, reflecting on, his tenure. Of course, also just 75 years of news making, really the impact it's had on this democratic project for South Africa and the continued growth in content creation and platforms as well as it continues to evolve. Again, thank you to him at this hour.